Welcome back, everybody. Glad you all could be here. It's been a wonderful time so far. We're going to get into the second half of Olympus Rises. Boom. Let's move over to the screen. Let's close Spotify so I don't actually blow anyone's eardrums out. And let's turn on Discord and see how everybody's been. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Oh.
Hello.
Yay, Devin's back.
I am.
The only thing you missed, Devin, is Dr. Fisher was going around to the crew and asking their opinions on Natalia Dormer.
I would say she's an attractive lady that I don't know very well.
And there you have it.
Nice and
that's about all I
simple.
Nice and simple. As is most things Fortune does.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, simple, clean, maybe not so clean sometimes.
Most of the time, not so clean.
Yeah. Those executions on that one planet, though, that was some pretty clean shooting.
That was, yeah.
Fortune probably felt pretty good after that one.
Oh yeah, he thought for sure I'm close to getting that next skill point and firearms.
Yeah, totally. Fantastic. So, welcome back, everybody. We're going to go ahead and jump into it. So, kind of gathered the opinion of the crew, Dr. Fisher, but now it's time to formulate your own. And we never would want this to be slanted based on the reactions of, hello, Dante, based on the reactions of the rest of the crew, right? We want to make our own opinions. We're scientific men. No, they pretty much nailed it, though. So...
Capable but snooty.
Capable, but... yeah, sure. So, the 12 hours have passed, and your ship gets the clearance codes to go dock at New Wuhan. And because I have a map... Back when I did maps for cities and stuff, guys. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move everybody over to here. New Wuhan.
Lay down.
Which most of the time I don't do maps anymore just because you go to like multiple places. And so I want to keep them fresh when they happen. When it matters, you know? So this is New Wuhan.
You don't want to eventually make 300 maps.
Yeah, that too. So this is New Wuhan. So 3 of you at least will recognize this. Although you'll notice that there is a distinct difference to this map than was previous. And that difference is there appears to be no more giant red box with rifts in the ground over here anymore.
I do notice that.
So previously when we were here, and this is for Dr. Fisher's benefit and the benefit of everybody else if you forgot, I talked about the seismic event that had occurred right before you landed the first time, and it had occurred in basically this entire area right here, just north of the lake, in between the lake and the river, and pretty much wiped that whole portion of the city out. And they were dealing with the president was dealing with the crisis, and it was a general FEMA situation where, there was a lot of rescue crews, and probably for months afterwards, people were still getting pulled out of rubble and stuff like that. But it's been about 6 months since that incident, and so things are relatively close to back to normal. Obviously, there are still parts of the city where you could go to that have not been built back up again, have not been leveled. But again, this is a very highly advanced society, and so they can kind of clear stuff away and make things look pretty much quicker than they could in the past. So, great, excellent. So you get to the landing area and you descend and your ship docks and lands on the docking pad. So, 2 things you have to do. First, you have to coordinate the delivery of the ice, and by the way, I should mention too, space calendar wise, and this is kind of why I did that too, space calendar wise, it is now technically the 20th, by the way, for your benefit, Oscar, but it's like, you came at sunrise on the 20th, so you still totally have time to coordinate that thing before noon when you have to go meet Natalia.
Wait, coordinate Coordinate what thing?
And you
delivery
don't
of the
you don't even
package?
have to be involved with it. It can obviously just be Fortune, but just the dropping off of the ice. That task can be completed before you have to leave. I'm just mentioning that. So we keep our timelines. In order.
I think that this one was just the medical supplies.
It was correct. I keep saying ice. That's my bad.
I would love to get money for both the med and ice for this one, but this one was just the med supplies. Trying to be just so we're clear.
I have my little cheat sheet here, and yes, it is just the med tech for this particular drop off.
Cool.
So you land and you contact the person that's going to come pick up the medical tech, and you realize that it is it's the military of the Shushu group that responds. You didn't necessarily get like a detailed list of who you're delivering to. It was like, here's the contact information. When you arrive there, contact these people, and they'll come bring you your stuff. And so probably like Fortune, I assume this would be you since you're the business guy. You call them from the ship and be like, hey, we've landed. And you get a message back from a first lieutenant.
Okey-dokey.
Probably, let's see, Vostly. First Lieutenant Vostly. Vastly. And First Lieutenant Vostly contacts you and says, he sends you a message back, like says, great, I'll send the requisitions team, make sure somebody is at the ship to, who is authorized to sign for documentation, etc., etc. VR, First Lieutenant Vostly. So it appears your supplies are going to the military here.
Okay.
Nothing really of note except for that.
How much time do we have from the time we landed to the time that we were going to try to go meet Natalia?
So about half a day, right? Because you landed basically at sunrise, so you have about 6 hours or so before Natalia is to be met.
Then in that case, I would stand by with the ship unless it starts getting close to that midday time frame, and then I would pass that task on to Chan to deliver said medical supplies properly.
Yeah, totally.
So Devin, we had this conversation while you were doing Devin stuff.
Got it.
Whatever that was.
Probably food. Walking dogs, maybe.
At any rate, would Fortune want to come along for this? We had a little thing because Fisher, there was a question whether or not he is coming along, and Fortune would also.
I would like to come because I need more information.
Totally.
Yeah, so also since Gogo's not going, I would totally be okay with Gogo just going and making the delivery for you guys while you're off doing whatever you want.
Okay,
so
that works.
It's essentially
Shan and I
to
got
sign,
it.
right?
Yeah. Someone just needs to be able to say, yes, these are your supplies, and don't take the other ones because we got another drop-off.
Correct, yeah.
These are not all for you.
Basically partition the 10 tons that is theirs, and
correct.
Operate the machinery, because you probably don't want randos operating your interior cargo machinery.
Yes, correct.
That's basically all the person is there for. And then to sign saying, yes, I delivered this, yes, I received this, drop the money in account, move on with your life. Cool, awesome. So you guys will be waiting there, and the rest of you are going to head into New Wuhan a little bit early. Like, you guys have some hours to kill, go scope out the terrain, the area, or are you guys just going to wait at the ship until it's time to go? Also, you have your own transportation now. Remember, last time we had to get a car to pick up you guys, or the illustrious taxi.
Well, that was on the other side of the planet. But yes.
Correct, but I'm just saying.
This side of the planet, we were treated very well, and they gave us like a limo to come.
Yeah, like armored up limos. And they were grav limos.
Limos.
Yeah, most every vehicle that exists in the Shushu group is all grav powered.
In that case, I would definitely be taking Bikey McBikeface.
Yeah,
we go.
And that's your sidecar.
My Harley with the sidecar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because grav cars, well, they're not quiet, but they're not loud. So Bikey McBikeface would definitely stand out.
And then
well, actually, it's probably like first.
Let's use propane. You know that's explosive, right?
all of it is methane powered. Everything.
Yeah,
is
everything is methane powered.
It's all methane.
Ever since the first time I made the ship go.
Yeah, the very first fart copter that was introduced.
Yeah.
Everything has been methane since then.
And it forever will be.
Yeah, no, totally. That's canon.
Yeah, I mean, I think
we can refuel it just by sitting on.
That's not something I had considered.
You
Maybe
know,
that's how the fuel scopes work.
That's offensive to Oscar. I don't think he produces methane when he farts.
I haven't thought that far into it.
Anyway, fart jokes are still funny.
Yeah, if we've got some time, I think Oscar would just collect his affairs. You know, get ready and maybe go stretch his legs, walk around outside.
So and the reason why I'm offering that is because you guys were woefully unexplored for this particular city. You got a lot of exploration in the other city, but this one you were driven straight to Capitol Row, put in the building, and then you left straight away back out. And you never really explored this city, so I'm allowing that option for you.
Drive around. So.
Okay. So you have a sidecar. I don't
know what the city's about. So.
Yeah. You have a sidecar.
How far away is the meeting place?
From Capitol Row? Yeah, actually, let me put that on the map so you guys know exactly where it is. It's very close to Capitol Row. It's obviously like her lunch spot. You know, like it's if not exactly in the building, it is very, very close to it. Let's make it.
Yeah. So if it's walkable distance.
Yeah, totally.
We have a couple hours. Oscar will definitely just go mill around, like see what this place has to offer.
Totally. French bistro. They're not very creative. There you go. Yeah, so it's definitely walkable distance from Capitol Row, but you have to get there. Like, you guys are over here, right? You guys are up here at the landing area, so getting there is the problem. But, Devin, you have a sidecar. Does anyone ride with you, or do you offer for anyone to ride with you?
Well, we've got
whoever wants to ride with me can.
So.
Yeah. So you guys, your little biker gang rolls down from the cargo hold.
Well, I'm drawing the path I would like to take to see things.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Totally. That seems good. And Oscar, are you gonna just kind of tag along until it's time to go, or are you gonna go off on your own?
I mean, it seems like each TL4 place we go to has their own kind of specialty.
Yeah, totally. That is a true statement.
And we weren't here long enough previously for him to investigate that. So I think he's going to kind of see what the local tech I mean, you know, the sort of things that would interest Oscar. He's going to wander over the course of a couple hours and see if there's anything particularly interesting.
Yeah, totally. I was just reminding the chat of this is also where Noodle Douche came from.
Well, the other side of the planet.
Yeah, again, the other side of the planet. But, you know, there could be a noodle place here.
He's a couple thousand miles away.
Yeah. And also, just to remind everybody, too, of the, like, the social climate here, it is definitely Eastern Asian-inspired. But most of the people are either of Asian descendants or, for some reason, in Natalia's case, there appears to be a, like, strong northern European influence here as well. Like, you know, Sweden, Netherlands, that kind of influence as well. It's like, it's a mixture of those two cultures here. Okay. There doesn't appear to be any distinct separation between the two, but that's kind of the people that are here. So, cool. So yeah, so you're gonna take that route along the roadways and stuff, and yeah, that seems great. That'll probably take you, you know, most of the time with stops and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there? Well, let me do something, and then I'm gonna ask you a question. No, come on. Okay, I don't see anything. Never mind.
Okay.
I'm just concentrating on the road, making sure I don't crash.
Yeah. So I'll describe it again for everybody's benefit, but mostly Fisher's. Wuhan is all of the buildings are basically single-story affairs. Most of them are single-story affairs. Most of them are made out of like kind of this sterile white plasteel, and most of them are like, you can tell just by kind of glancing around, are like heavily reinforced or very thick walls, very kind of attentive to the seismic instability that exists here on the planet, and everything looks kind of very sleek and futuristic. Again, most of the... actually, no, not even most. I won't even say most. All of the vehicles that you would see, like, aside from perhaps like a foot-pedaled bicycle, if somebody is riding one of those, right? Like, for exercise or whatever they do in the future. But, yeah, all of the cars, all of the motorcycles, all of the trolleys, all of the trains, everything is grav-powered. And again, that has kind of been adapted for these people to live on this planet where there are regular seismic events. It's like living on a fault line, but also on steroids. Regularly in the countryside, there are seismic events, and the cities and stuff have kind of formed around places with lower seismic activity, but they've kind of brought those customs along in the interest of not dying and not having to like rebuild every week when there's a earthquake. A weekly affair would be a fair assessment of how often there's a like major seismic event in the Shushu group territory. So yeah. So as you guys begin traveling along, you do stand out along the roadways because you both have wheeled vehicles, or the two vehicles that you have are wheeled. One is even TL3, so it's loud. There's a bit of smoke coming from the exhaust. It's got a rudimentary sidecar kind of attached to it. Oscar, I assume you're riding on the other motorcycle. And it is TL4, so it's a little bit more sleek, a bit more stylish, but still a wheeled vehicle, still like touching the pavement. And so that's another thing, is the pavement is in great condition because nothing ever touches it.
Nothing rides it.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing actually ever wears it down. And so like one might ask, well, why do you even have pavement? Well, because, occasionally traders, stuff. It's good. It's a good thing to have, just in case, right?
Yeah.
You occasionally get these nostalgic individuals,
right? And yeah, so like car enthusiasts of our day are the same as those people, right? Like there is probably a couple of rich people here who have like these old school wheeled vehicles that are like super retro, and like you take them out on date night, but then they just sit in the garage and hope not to have the house collapse on them during an earthquake. In fact, they probably go in like when they're not like out driving around, they probably go in like these reinforced plasteel boxes to keep them safe from the earthquakes when they occur. They get like strapped down like cargo containers. It's probably how it works. But yeah, the roadways are great. It's a nice smooth ride. You guys have no issues riding through. And before you kind of reach the city, it's this nice kind of rolling hill kind of landscape with these lakes and rivers and mountains, and very beautiful on this side of the planet. And eventually you come out over the overlooking the city, and the thing that dominated it before and dominates it this time is the New Wuhan Bridge, which is this massive thing, this massive architectural structure, and I will move the name so you can see it. So this bridge right here is a massive architectural structure that the entire bridge is held up by these massive grav engines underneath of it to hold it steady. And a lot of these other bridges are actually like physical, plasteel beams into the water and holding them in position. But this one in particular is designed in such a way that, to resist the elements, all of that kind of stuff. It's basically like a giant floating bridge, right? But these grav engines are larger than any other grav engines in the sector, probably. Like, they are just huge and massive, and probably they make a bit of noise if you're that kind of low hum, just whoa, 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 if you're close to them. But yeah, that kind of dominates the landscape. And for those of you that haven't seen before, Dr. Fisher, it's an impressive sight to observe. So there's that. And you guys progress down, and you go down your trail, and you cross over a couple of bridges, and you make that left-hand turn to kind of go around the area. And as far as I can tell, you turn right here first, Devin. You go in here and then turn right.
Correct.
Or do you go straight? I don't think it matters too much, but
no.
Okay. So you come in here and you turn right, and you go, and you pass by, like, you pass a bridge, like, close to it, and you can kind of feel, like, you get that kind of feeling like if you're around, like, a high electrical box, where there's just kind of that natural, like, in the air kind of static. And you can see it even more now. You can see where the waves are kind of being, or the water's being kind of disturbed by the massive grav engines pushing it downward, and allowing the bridge to rise. And so it's pretty cool. It's like, it's a cool thing to see. And you cross over the bridge, and you kind of circle around the lake, and then once you get up in here, so this is kind of the line of demarcation where the earthquake occurred last time you guys were here.
Yeah.
And so there is a noticeable difference where you enter, like, a new construction phase, where there's probably still some buildings that are, kind of half done, but there is still a lot of people living here now. And as you get deeper and deeper in, when you get to about this point here, you notice that there are a couple of buildings that are, like, collapsed or like been gutted but never restored fully yet. Either just waiting on funding or, waiting to be demoed, whatever. You know how construction work works sometimes.
Yeah.
They wait for 6 months and then it's done overnight. So, it's true. It's true. That's how it works, at least in America. So
how long has it been in-game? Just remind me, because I'm terrible at keeping track of time. It's been 6 months?
It's been about 6 months since you guys were here. So a decent amount of time for recovery efforts to occur. And you guys, make your way across the bridge, and we get into this area over here. This is the first, like, commercial area that you guys get into.
Okay.
And you start driving by these, quaint little shops, and it's clearly a more local area. You're kind of further away from the attractions, which are over here by the Capitol Row, obviously. You're kind of further away from the attractions. There's a lot more locals you can see, like, walking down the streets and, greeting one another, and, things seem peaceful here. It seems like there is not a whole lot of strife for these people, and as you kind of progress through, you see that on the holo displays for all the shops and stuff, those same flyers that you guys received in your newsletters are kind of posted at every window of every shop as you're kind of traveling along, like big holographic displays of, the not Natalia, but the president, like, pointing, like, we want you, that kind of thing. And so, that's obviously a newer feature to this particular part of town, but you weren't here before, so who knows. And all three of you roll me a perception check. Holy shit, Oscar.
God.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, whoa.
Hey.
Wow, Dr. Phil.
Who's on my cart?
I picked the right bike.
Dr. Phil.
Holding it down.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So maybe you guys get into, like, a
Fortune's bike is just too damn loud.
Yeah.
That's got to be what it is.
Yeah, and you did say you're focused on the road, so
I did. Yeah.
So maybe you guys, like, pull over, maybe to get some gas, get some biofuel for the bikes, or whatever the TL4 runs off of, which is probably methane. And you just you're doing the thing where you're, like, leaning up against the bike and refueling it, and Dr. Fisher, maybe you're in, like, looking at the convenience store goods or whatever, and Oscar, you're with him, like, just kind of, like, perusing around, hand in pockets, you know, just, like, looking around, and both of you, hear a sound, and you, it's like, the new sound, like, dun 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 dun, right? And you guys, like, look up, and you see there's, like, a...
Street Fighter? I mean,
Sonic,
Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
You guys look up and you see the television. It's like, you know, it's like a holographic display probably that's acting as a television. And you see that the man behind the counter like turns and he like looks up at it. And
like a news bulletin noise,
it's a
like
news
breaking news.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And you probably see in a language you don't understand, like the big red bar across the bottom of the screen, right, with like two big red letter or red word or white words, right? And you see the guy, he like picks up, he like takes out his compad and he like, you see him like hit a few buttons and he begins to turn it up so he can hear it. You can't understand what he's saying though. But they start to show images of what is very clearly like, and this will be topical-ish, but images of like soldiers and like grav tank lines and this like deserty kind of area, and it shows like a couple of soldiers like holding like weapons up above their head, and as the like text kind of scrolls across the screen, if you guys want, you can make language checks to see if you can decipher anything based on what you know. I'll allow it, but it'll be difficult. I mean, this is up to you whether or not you believe you would be able to tell anything based on how you've seen news bulletins before. Also, is there a riot going on somewhere?
Sorry.
Rest in peace, Devin.
Yeah, this house right now is kind of like a zoo.
That's fine.
There's a bird. There's 4 dogs.
Holy shit!
Nice.
So.
Would that be with int?
Yeah, with intelligence.
That's with a penalty.
It's a nice roll.
I don't travel down this part of the sector that much.
Yeah, Oscar's pretty well traveled. He's got this.
I mean, Oscar, you've been here before, right? Like,
or part of it.
Maybe there was some rudimentary explanation of, you know, like how different things look like to you before, right? Because you've been here before. Mm. In fact, you've been here twice before. Remember? You actually do have some interaction with this planet prior to this game. So, you get there and you realize one of the things that pops up is obviously it says it says Shushu military takes, and then it has a word that's probably a city name, right? It's probably like a city name. And you see like you see what you equate to small, and then you see injured. So like it says, like in your mind it's small injured, but it probably means like minimal casualties or something like that. But essentially,
Jordan, you're pretty bad right now.
Fuck.
Yeah. So I heard something military, something minimal casualty.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably fucking appropriate.
Didn't understand
that. I think what he said was, yes, you only rolled a 9.
Fucking horse shit.
Hey, we heard that. Got that one loud and clear.
This is what most of my end sounds like on Sundays, because apparently everyone just binges Netflix in Middleton. And there's no bandwidth left.
It's weird. Shit. See, my Friday games usually are the ones that are bad. My Sunday, I never have issues, but sometimes Fridays will just stop working.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
So, I don't know. Apparently.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hey.
Yay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jordan is a human again.
What I said was, you basically...
Do I recognize the location, or does it say
No,
where
you do
this
not.
video is coming from?
You do not recognize a location, but you equate it to a town name or city name of some sort. Like you would be able to relay what it sounds like or something to somebody else, but you don't know where it is specifically.
Okay. I would, as we're kind of cruising along, with like one arm romantically looped around Fisher, for stability's sake, it's purely for safety. I would look up the location on my compad to see if I can figure out anything else.
You could totally get like a translated version of Spoogle Maps on your compad for sure.
Yeah.
So you pull out the compad and you look it up, and you see that it is a relatively small location, in kind of the middle of nowhere.
On planet?
Yeah, on planet.
Okay.
Absolutely on planet. And also you get you notice it is in Shianabi Alliance territory. So you can garner what you want from that, but the message that is being attempted to convey here is it appears it's not any longer a Cold War on the planet.
I see. That is relevant information, certainly.
Yeah.
Or at least there are, because like again, as I said the first time we were ever here, there are always like minor skirmishes, right? Like this recon group encounters this recon group, and there's an argument over territory, and shots are fired, and there's a couple of deaths, but you know both governments kind of calm it down so people don't get crazy. But this is like actual possession of land now. This is clearly trying to convey that message.
So it's a border dispute.
Yeah, probably. But it seems on a slightly larger scale than what was going on before.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, I would probably wait until we all kind of, because I think we're gonna be at this place well ahead of the actual meeting time, so I'll probably wait to just fill people in verbally after we get off. Maybe, you know what, in the meantime, I probably text back to Gogo to say, like,
lock the doors.
Yeah, basically so Oscar sends Gogo a text that says, war on planet seems to be escalating. Be on guard.
Yeah. So I actually think that's perfect. We see Gogo, you pull out your compad, you see that message, and it was right as you had like descended to greet Lieutenant Vastley that was headed towards you. And he's just got like it's clearly just like a couple of soldiers with him. And then there's like a crew that's here to like cart the medical supplies away. And so like you pull out your compad, you read the message, and then First Lieutenant Vastley is like there, like approaching you with his hand extended.
Gogo takes a quick second to type back K without an emoji, which shows that something is clearly wrong with her, obviously. And then she stows away her compad and just kind of looks up. She kind of holds out her hand, but she doesn't really shake hands, so she just doesn't want to get shot currently. So she's kind of like, eh.
Yeah, he shakes your hand, and he does the thing where like you shake someone's hand and then grab the back of their wrist at the same time, like for an emphatic shake. And he says, it is great to see you. Now we should be loading and unloading these supplies. Yes.
Yeah. Chan will help you.
Very good. I look forward to meeting this Chen. You could not have come at a better time. And he gives you like a big, kind of warm, welcoming smile. And kind of like you hear him like, and he rounds up his crew to start moving and receiving supplies. And I assume Chan is like up in the cargo bay, like maybe directing people.
Yeah.
And like removing the things. And you're just kind of like arms crossed, leaning against a wall, supervising, I assume.
I mean, that's what Gogo does best.
Yeah, and I think that there's a few moments, because it's 10 tons of shit, like it's gonna take a while to get off the ship, right? And And so I think that, as you're doing that, kind of just leaning, watching, and Chan is, like, coordinating, and you notice Chan is, like, he's taken to this task really well. He's actually, like, telling people what to do and stuff. Now, luckily, these are all men that have shown up. And so there's no complications with that, per se. But...
Haha, fellow minions, assist me.
Yeah, he
right?
seems to be taking a role that you may have not seen him before take, which is somewhat of a leadership role. Now, in your research of Puffosian society, you know that it is not uncommon for there to be a slave in charge, right? Like, it's not uncommon for there to be a individual among the men of the society that is kind of in control of the rest of the men. And this is a thing that, like, typically the older men kind of aspire to do in that society. And maybe you kind of relate that to what Chan is doing now. He appears to be taking more charge of his position. He seems to believe that he is in a different position on the ship than he was before. And so, like, there's progress there, albeit progress down probably the wrong path. Whereas he is kind of falling more into the society that he knows roles, as opposed to being a free-ish thinker, right? So take that how you will. And I think that First Lieutenant Vasily, he kind of like walks up and he's got his hands like clasped behind his back, and he's wearing like a military uniform. It's like a more casual dress though. It's not like the full dress uniform. It's like it's probably like some form of like desert-ish kind of camouflage. And he's got a beret on. And he kind of walks up and he just kind of stands next to you for a while, and there's that silence there of both of you doing your supervision jobs, right? He kind of turns to you and he says, "Your man is very able."
Yeah, he does a good job.
This is good to have men that are able at your side, and women, of course. What is your position on this ship?
Captain.
Ah, Captain, yes. I know not how to formally greet you then.
You don't have to greet me at all.
Ah, this is good. Customs can be very hard between societies.
Sure. Gogo's just giving, like, the minimal requirements here. She does not want to talk to this guy. She just wants to do her job. But she also is trying hard not to cause an incident, even though if he continues to talk to her, it might be a problem.
Yeah, so there's probably two things that you, like, notice. Actually, roll me a perception check with wisdom. We'll see what you can... yeah, with wisdom. It's fine. Okay, so a 5.
Yep, seems right.
So this guy, he seems chatty. You definitely don't get the vibe that like he's aggressive in any way, and like if you told him like I don't really want to talk right now, he'd probably leave it at that. But he seems like almost overly friendly, like that kind of weird place that some people get to where they're like they end up asking you questions and then they end up getting to like really fucking personal shit that like you don't even know how you got there. And he's not there yet, like he's keeping it all professional, but like that's just the kind of person that he seems to be. But probably like underlying there you see like this hard line kind of like military badassery going on there as well, like that kind of steel that he sometimes exudes. You probably notice it more when like he's talking with his soldiers. So yeah, that's what you're able to gain from him. Keep in mind you rolled a 5.
Sure.
Yeah, and so he probably sits there for a while and he says he probably gets into like, have you ever visited New Wuhan before?
Once. A bit ago.
It is a lovely place, and especially since we cleaned up all of that mess in the river portions.
That was quite a mess last time we were here.
Ah, so you were here during that. This is good. Yes, well, not good. Certainly someplace that, well, not our best day, as I would say.
Some would say that that's, well, whatever, sure.
Yeah, and he's like, it has been good lately, though. Less seismic activity in the area. Perhaps the planet is finally calming down.
Hopefully it stays that way while I'm here.
He's like, yes, but you have a spaceship. You could always fly away.
I plan on doing just that.
Yes, it is my dream. I originally wanted to go into the Navy, but instead there was more desire and need.
I think I hear they need my help. I'll be, bye.
Oh, yes, I understand.
Coco just like turns around and starts walking towards Chan, like something important is happening over there.
Yeah, there might be like a little bit of a dejected look on his face after that, and you kind of like stride off, and you go up and stand next to Chan because you're kind of forced into that now, and as you approach, Chan kind of he gives you like a bow and he says, "Over, Gogo, it is good to see you."
If you need me, Chan, I'll be in my room, but it seems like you got a handle on all this.
I appreciate the praise, Gogo. I will do as best as I can.
Sure, it'll be great. And she just like walks off.
Yeah, totally. And the rest of it kind of goes without incident. And you get a message. It's in all caps because he still hasn't figured out the compad very well yet.
Aww.
And it says the task is done. If you need me, I will be in engineering. And it's signed Chan at the bottom.
Oh my god, I love that he talks in all caps. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and the ship kind of falls into its, silence of idle for a while, kind of leaving you kind of, just resting there. No other entities on the ship besides the near silent Chan and then the slow, slimy embrace of the air vents occasionally as Stanley passes.
Yeah, but I think when Gogo goes back to her room though, she goes back to what she was trying to find earlier. Yeah, like she goes back to searching.
Do you want to roll a?
Yeah, I do.
A check to see if you can find what you're searching for. Sure. I think it's going to be perception, but actually based on intelligence, since you're not trying to look for something specifically. You're trying to investigate, and I think that's more based on intelligence in this case.
It's not bad for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think a 7 would probably net you what you were looking for, perhaps.
Yeah, so I think that I'm trying to think of where she would find. So I think that she's looking for a while, and I think she just gets frustrated and upset and just lays down on right next to her bed, and then kind of her head kind of lolls over to the side, and so she's looking under her bed now, and she sees a glimmer of what she's looking for, and she's like, of course, and she reaches underneath. You know how when you're trying to get something that's in a very tight space and you're flat out trying to reach as far as you can to get it? And I think she does that, and she pulls it out, and she holds the data chip in her hand with the keychain of her car on it. And I think she kind of looks at it sad because the keychain's probably broken. It's probably chipped off or parts missing at this point.
Yeah.
And totally. So she kind of takes it in her hand and just kind of sighs, and then goes to try to find her compad to plug it in.
Yeah, totally. And this is This is not the message. This was the thing he gave you before, right?
Yeah. Because the message is very broken. But this is the thing that she gave me before all he gave me before all of that.
Yeah.
That I never looked at, so.
So you plug it in, and there's like there's a crackling as it like gets through all of the dust that it's acquired over the past month or whatever of being stuck underneath your bed. And then it pulls up a couple of files. You see like 2 little files in the compound itself, and you click on the first. They're just labeled 1 and 2. You click on the first one, and it's one of those moments where, like, you know, when the advertisement is way louder than the
the video.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So it opens up a video file, and it's like, "Hey, would you like to race?" And like you like cringe, like, "Oh God." And it's some dude on like a used like pilot lot. And the video plays for a little while, and he's like doing the car salesman thing where he's like, "And here we have the nigh but a year old model," you know, he goes through the whole thing and he's yelling and it's all obnoxious. And then the video pauses. And it's clearly like an edited clip where it pulls up from the background, it pulls up an image of a very sleek looking race fighter. And you almost feel some sort of not necessarily like nostalgia, but like I guess it is a little bit of nostalgia. It's not the race vehicle you used to race in or anything like that. It's clearly like a new-ish model. And you look at it for a moment and you're like, you can't tell, like, it doesn't have any descriptions or anything on it. It's, you know, you can't see the sticker or anything like that. And then you see, like, almost as if somebody is drawing on, like, a whiteboard next to it, as it, like, enhances and shows, like, the whole image on the screen. There is, like, a tracing outline starts at the hook, and it draws a question mark, and then puts a period. And it's like somebody is drawing it live for you. Which, clearly, it was Boomer that did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the video, like, ends right there, and it just leaves that image on the screen.
Yeah, I think, you know, Gogo looks at it for a moment, and she wants to just throw it away from her as quickly as possible, but then takes a deep breath and notices that there's yet another file on it, and she at least wants to see what it has to say.
Yeah. So you open up the file, and it pulls up a big, like, documentation file, and your auto scroll doesn't work on it, actually. It's been disabled against your auto scroll, right? And you can see at the top, it has last name Valentine, first name Margot, and like you're like, what? That's weird. You don't remember filling this out, this documentation. And you scroll through it, and it appears to be a purchase order, an invoice. And you scroll through a couple more pages, like trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And then eventually you get to an image where it is a picture of the race vehicle. And, you know, it's like this appears to be a purchase order or invoice or contract for this particular race vehicle. You've never filled this paperwork out, ever. Not even automatically.
Does it say where?
Yeah, so you keep scrolling, and you see it actually says, conveniently, Dakani Shipyards.
Of course it does.
Yeah. And it's probably the Wu-Tan Industries. And yes, it's not necessarily the Wu-Tang Clan, but it is Wu-Tan.
Wu-Tan, got it.
Wu-Tan Industries. And you you kind of sit there for a moment. I don't know, feeling whatever you're feeling, and then after about, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes of you like kind of like just looking over this, your auto scroller kicks in, and it zooms to the last page, and you can see at the very bottom like line, surrounded. It's clearly like something that may, like, you know how like you would stamp something over a contract that had like a notice on it. That's kind of what it is on the last page, where the last page is like the invoice, like the payment history and stuff like that. It just has stamped over it, paid in full.
Yeah, so I think you just see Gogo staring at that screen for a really long time, and I think that, you know, you can't see her face, but you see like some wet droplets drop onto the face of her compad.
Yeah.
And I think she very, very carefully turns off the compad, rests it on her bed, or the floor, I guess, because she hasn't really gotten off the floor.
Sure.
She stands up and she makes her way to the med bay and starts like digging through the medicine cabinet.
Yeah. Dr. Fisher, because I know you are a careful man. Roll me a luck save.
Oh god. Am I going to be the new Gogo?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I think you forgot to lock it on your way out. Yeah. So Gogo, you can you get into the medicine cabinet. And again, what he's been giving you is mostly like painkillers, like light kind of Tylenol-esque painkillers, and maybe some mild sedatives so that you can sleep, right? And that's basically it. But there is
usually only a few pills at a time.
Yeah, and there's far more access to all kinds of, you know, your typical TL4 level drugs in here.
Yeah, I mean, Gogo's got a 2 in medicine, so she knows what she's looking for.
Yep. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think she digs through it and just starts, in typical Gogo style, anything that, you know, it's like the Tylenol or like, you know, the stuff for an upset stomach. She just like starts throwing over her shoulder onto the ground until she finds, you know, like the heavy sedatives.
Yeah.
Stuff that maybe you would take for
A missing leg.
surgery or something.
Yeah.
And she just takes the whole bottle, and you just see her like leave and go back to her room and close the door.
Yeah, totally. Cool. So, flash forward. The group on motorcycles, you ride over the giant grav bridge, and it's all, you know, very cool, and, you know, you can kind of feel the movement a little bit underneath of you, because you're on wheeled vehicles and actually in physical contact with it, obviously.
I was gonna say, would this grav bridge, since it's probably pretty new and fancy and all that good stuff, would it have like a pull-off spot in the middle of the bridge where you can like take a picture?
Totally, absolutely.
Yeah, I would definitely stop there for a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
Try to look over the side to see the grav engines underneath.
Selfie.
Yeah, take a selfie. Hey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. Oscar is just like hovering in midair as he teleports behind you, photobombing. Yeah. Oscar like jumps off, turns around, and then teleports
obscene.
back up. Yeah. Obscene for you, which actually looks like some other weird gang sign for humans, right? Something obscene on Raimondi that doesn't make sense to these strange humans walking around. And you guys, you know, are having a grand old boys' day out. It's basically Final Fantasy 15, but with motorcycles instead of a nice car.
Got it.
So
I didn't play that.
I mean, it's basically a boy band that rides around and kills monsters. That's all you need to know. One of them is like a prince or something. It's actually really good, believe it or not.
One of them's an adorable photographer.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. One of them is like this big, fucking large, badass dude who is like the softest. He's the big softy, right? And then one of them is like a 5-star chef of taking things off the ground and making them into meals. Yeah, he's also like the party dad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I'm not.
None
of this makes me want to play this game.
No, Matt, listen. The best part of that game is the other characters that you ride around with, 100%, without a doubt.
Yeah, the character interaction is the best.
Yeah, for sure. Combat's pretty cool, but the character interaction is like fucking sick. So, eventually you guys, you loop around the lake and, you take a bunch of pictures and a bunch of cool stuff, but nothing really too interesting beyond what I've described happens during your process. And eventually you arrive outside of the French bistro, and you guys, pull and you double park your motorcycles in a single parking space because that's what cool motorcycle people do.
Yeah.
And, you turn off the engines and throw the kickstand out, except for you, Fortune, because obviously you put the block on the wheel.
Yeah, so it doesn't roll away.
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
And yeah, you guys, take off your helmets if you have them or whatever.
We ain't wear no helmets. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I think Oscar is just like got a second set of eyelids that comes down.
They look like sunglasses.
No, it's like some animals have like an underwater set. Yeah,
You're a camel.
Just
yes, not even the crocodile, man. Just camel.
Aquatic camels that have the second set for underwater because of all the water in the desert.
But no, camels have really thin eyelids, so they can have their eyes shut and still see in sandstorms.
They do.
I'm just like, those oases are really.
That's an amazing piece of information. Thank you, Will.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Why do you know this?
Today I learned.
He's a prince. He probably rides on them daily.
I'm looking this up.
Anytime I have to go to the Middle East.
Eyelid.
It was actually for geography, because you needed to. Well,
that doesn't seem like a geography question that would ever appear on a test, but okay.
Quick fact: camels have 3 eyelids.
Yeah, it was
2 of the eyelids have eyelashes, which help protect their eyes.
Don't lie, Will. It was in geography that you learned it, but it was because you were lazily like flipping through the book, and it was one of those like weird facts in a textbook that they sometimes put like in the margins, or like in a little cutaway portion when you were learning about the Middle East, right? That's what it was.
There was a module on evolution depending on geography, and that was the bit of information I learned. Okay.
Megan can confirm.
Can confirm.
Okay, good. We got the teacher's confirmation on that. That's good.
See, what's funny though is I just picture like the royal family kind of being like the Kennedys, where how they always used to sit around the dinner table, and then it was like trivia at the dinner table. They had to quiz each other about like random facts. Whoever was smartest, would be, I don't know, the smartest Kennedy ? I think that the royal family does this too, and we'll just kind of confirm that. So that's great.
It's good stuff.
It's actually true that we do have a Today I Learned around the dinner table.
See?
Holy fuck.
See? I knew it.
Well, now I know it. I know the tradition I need to start having with my family during.
See, now I also know where the Kennedys got it from, because they certainly didn't invent that shit.
That's great. So.
Anyway,
you guys arrive at the French bistro, which is probably the name, but it's probably in a different language, so it looks more fancy. But it's probably just French bistro. That's probably what it says.
Du fromage.
Yeah. Probably. That's probably what it says. And yeah, you guys park and you go and like, Oscar, do you like shoot away a message that says, here, waiting?
We're a pretty conspicuous bunch. Is this place outside?
So there is a large outside patio area, but there is a smaller portion inside as well.
how early are we?
Not very, actually.
Okay, so if that's the case, then he would. You know what? Well, you said that this is like a pretty casual place. Like, there
So,
wouldn't be a server or anything.
It is somewhat of a casual place. There are servers and stuff, but it's one of those casual places in the high political business district. I don't know if you've ever been to DC.
Yeah,
but
so
there are like it's filled with businessmen and women and like clearly like notable politicians in there. Like,
you know what? I think Oscar would go like up to the door and look for either the maitre d' or the first security detail, because surely she's not here alone. And I think his instinct would be not to text her, but to just go to whomever. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see that there are probably a couple of them just hanging out outside too. Maybe maybe there's probably a couple like smoking cigarettes like over on the side, right? Because they're on break or whatever while their masters eat. There's probably a couple more standing like just inside the door, like a couple men and women just like having conversations, but they're clearly like they probably have earpieces in. They're probably in black suits. You know, they're the Secret Service essentially. And there's just like you notice there are a couple of them just kind of hanging around.
Men in black.
So,
but I don't see her. Obviously, I mean, the first question should be, do I see her?
Yeah, no, you do not see her.
Okay. Then I would walk up to. I mean, what do
you can also go to the
notice?
hostess. There's probably a hostess here.
Yeah, so that's what I meant. The
maid. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Totally.
I'd go up to her and say, like, does she bum rush me with the usual like, how many will you be seating? Or
yeah, she probably looks at you. There's probably a once over because you've been riding on a motorcycle for the past 4 hours, and so there's probably no small share of like dirt and stuff clinging to you. And she probably gives you like the once over, and she says, "Yes, how may we be of assistance today?"
Oscar, I think by this point he would have actually like unbuttoned his jacket, and he would be in, like respectable plain clothes underneath.
Yeah.
So he doesn't look like a total mess, and he's not wearing armor.
Right. You have your cutlass, though, right?
He has his usual try not to draw attention gear, which is his backpack and his cutlass.
Yeah. The backpack is probably a bit conspicuous, but I mean, you're riding on a motorcycle, so
yeah,
you need
of course
to
I have
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says, Natalia is expecting us. Is she here?
Yeah, so she kind of like looks and she glances at like the weapon, and I assume, Fortune, you have your dual pistols as well.
Yeah, I have my revolver.
Yeah, so weapons are not unauthorized here, right? You didn't have to check them in or anything like that, but if you guys have weapons, so does everyone else.
Yeah.
That is the running assumption, that is why we have them.
Yeah,
That's why we have them, yeah.
Exactly. She kind of like looks you over and she says, "I'll show you to her table. She should be here." And she kind of like, she glances up at like the wall digital clock. She's like, "In about 3 minutes."
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and she grabs a couple of like, holographic menus and leads you to a table, and you guys actually go out onto the patio area that kind of is facing, it's on the side of the street, and there's a table in like, so imagine if we have there's like the glass wall or the glass doors, walls, windows and stuff for the inside, and then the door that comes out, and then there's a big like rectangular area. You guys are in the corner that is against the glass wall, but furthest away from the entrance door. So you're basically, if we're looking at the front of the building, you guys are on the left-hand side in the back corner of the patio. Cool.
Got it.
And she leads you there, and she places the menus down and says, "Someone will be with you when she arrives," and leaves.
Mm.
And you can see there are 4 chairs here. It's like a small, like, outdoor table, and precisely 180 seconds later, Natalia, you see her, like, walking by, like, you see her approach from a distance, and you can see she's kind of on her compound, and she's flanked by a woman and a man behind her. They appear to be so us in America will know what this looks like, but Will, I don't know what I can equate it to for you, but they're the Secret Service in the plain clothes. You know those guys and girls where, like, they're wearing, like, a cool hip t-shirt and some jeans, but, like, they have earpieces and a big bulge on their hip because they're carrying a weapon? Like, they try to blend in, but don't blend in at all. They're all wearing baseball caps for some reason, even though it's, like, cloudy out. You know those people, you know, the dress I'm talking about? That's what they are. They're incognito, but clearly not incognito. Anyone would be able to recognize them as a security detail. When she arrives, she doesn't acknowledge you. She's, like, in her compad, just, like, typing or something, or sending a message or reading email or whatever she's doing. And just as automatic, she right-hand turns right into the door. And you see the security detail. One of them goes to the corner, they go to the outside corners of the patio, and they just kind of stand there, like, leaning up against the railing. And the woman who's closer to you, she kind of, like, cracks her knuckles and, like, looks around, and she like looks over her shoulder and gives you guys the quickest glance. And you could tell, Oscar and Fortune, you guys are adept at this. She does the once over, like, okay, if I had to kill them, what would be the most efficient way? Which I'm sure you guys give everyone basically ever that you walk by, right?
Well, as General Mattis once said, be polite and courteous to everyone you meet, or be polite and courteous, but have a plan to kill everyone you meet.
Yep. And you can tell she does the once over, and then she kind of like adjusts her hat, right? But you can see her talking, like, just whispering into what I assume is a microphone, right? And again, these guys are good, and they're trying to be inconspicuous, but not really. They also want to know that, like, they want you to know they're there. And so you see the other guy, like, your eyes follow the radio transmission over, right? And you see the guy do the same thing. He kind of looks over his shoulder, does the same thing, and just nods once, and then goes back to, like, evaluating what's going on. And about the time that happens, Natalia rounds the corner and comes out the door.
Sure.
One second.
Okay.
Did I? Hold on. I don't know if I. No, I didn't. Okay.